Hi, I'm Peter Bassett, Astronomy Roadshow Mobile Planetarium. Today we're going to talk about a conspiracy theory regarding satellites. Some people don't believe they even exist. Alright, okay, the first one was launched in 1957 anyway by Russia, called Sputnik 1. Lasted in orbit for a few months. Anyway, today we've got thousands of satellites orbiting the Earth, and no matter where you are on the planet you will see some. Here's one I recorded just the other night. Well, this one's called Enversat. It's one of the biggest satellites ever launched, about the size of a coach. And anyway, a few years ago, it was actually hit, we believe anyway, by a piece of space debris. And it hit a vital piece of electronics, and the whole thing just went offline. Alright. Anyway, it's a European satellite, but it's still orbiting. You can still see it passing overhead. It does vary in brightness quite a lot, because this one's slowly tumbling now out of control in orbit, so the brightness can actually vary as it passes over. Anyway, so that's Enversat. Right, but anyway, how far are these things? It's just a dot in the sky, isn't it? How can you tell how far this thing's in the sky? Conspiracy people assume that they're just like 5 miles up. These are actually drones or aircraft disguised as satellites. How can you tell how far this thing is? It's actually quite easy. All we need are two observers observing the same object at the same time, confirmed each other but with phone. And just keep in touch like that. So you've got observer A, observer B, separated by perhaps 10 miles, as an example. Can be 7, can be 12, doesn't really matter, it's not too crucial. Now if you observe there are low-flying aircraft, such as Spitfire, my favourite, I'd love to go up in one day. Anyway, observer A may see it overhead, just a few thousand feet up. Observer B will see it much lower down, or 10 miles away. They'd just about be able to see it perhaps, but there could be trees and buildings in the way. They may not even see it at all, but observer A can clearly see it overhead. Alright. But anyway, what about a higher flying aircraft, such as a jet airliner? So now have a jumbo jet passing over. Observer A waits for one that's overhead, phones up observer B, says, where can you see it then? And anyway, he sees it maybe at 40 degrees up. Now 0 degrees is along the horizon, 90 degrees is overhead. This is quite straightforward to work out, just a guide anyway. So they can observe, do a countdown like 3, 2, 1 mark. This one's overhead, this one may be at 40 degrees. Alright, you've got some idea of how far it is as well. Because look what we've got here, a right angled triangle. If you know this distance, just check it out on a map. It's quite straightforward. Say for example 10 miles, and if you measure just a rough guide at this angle, you can calculate the length of the hypotenuse simply by using trigonometry. It's quite straightforward, and you give it a rough idea of how far the aircraft actually is from both observers, if you wish, if you want to be really flash. Okay, now what about satellites? When these pass over, something different happens. They're so high up, the angle between both observers be almost exactly the same. That's how it's done, you see. So at least a dozen satellites will pass overhead from observer's A point of view, phones up, observer B, so right, where can you see that satellite? And it will be also overhead to within a degree or so. And there wouldn't be a lot in it. And so if you now extend this graph all the way up to the very top, which will take you about 12 feet or so above this studio, and you can then have a rough idea of how far this thing is. Anyway, it won't just be a few miles up, it will literally be about 300 or 400. See what I mean? That's the way of doing it. Just observe the two angles. They'll be almost exactly the same at the same time. Alright? That's how you do it anyway. So you can easily prove that satellites are in outer space and not low in the atmosphere. If they are low in the atmosphere, as a conspiracy people claim, and low down here for instance, again, the observer B will see it at 30 or 40 degree angle, 60 degrees if it's on the top of the atmosphere, but this will be 89 or so. Okay, almost vertical. So that's how you tell the difference between the altitude of a satellite and the altitude of an aircraft. It's actually quite easy. Anyway, if you know more about this kind of subject, and there's a really good book out, it's one of my favourites actually, Satellite Spotting and Operations Handbook. Gives you all sorts of information about what phenomena to look out for when satellites pass over. Tells you how to record them, how to tell which one's which and so on. It's by somebody called Peter Bassett. Ask me, sorry about that. Okay, anyway, that's my favourite actually out of the series. I've got two others actually. Here's another one, and Satellite Spotting for Youngsters, and it's same information, but obviously, you know, sort of catered for the younger reader. And anyway, but the ultimate, if you're really into conspiracy theories, is a great moon landing hoax. Because most people that believe that satellites are fake also believe that the moon landings were fake as well. I got surprised for them, no it wasn't. Okay, it was real. It's very easy again, just as easy as this actually, to prove the moon landings were real as well. It's got all the methods to actually do that in there. All right. If you're interested in these books, they're all obtained actually from outerspacebooks.com, and yeah, it's my website. Gives you all different versions of them, the black and white colour and ebook versions as well. And if you want to know more about satellite spotting in general, there's a website out, satellitespotting.com. Okay. Anyway, it gives you all the kinds of phenomena to look out for, and gives some information on how to record them. But the majority of the information is actually in the books. If you're interested, websites just aren't suitable for that amount of information. All right. Okay. Anyway, thanks for watching, and I hope you go out and prove the satellites are for real yourselves. It only takes about an hour or so of your time, and you can do these 3 experiments quite straightforward. All right. Okay. Thanks for watching.